Welcome back to the channel where hidden history, forgotten pocket change, and unbelievable discoveries collide. And today, you might want to pay very close attention because a tiny coin that many people ignore every single day could secretly be worth an astonishing $23 million. Yes, you heard that right. A simple 1988 P1 dime from the United States that normally has a face value of just 10 cents could actually be worth more money than luxury mansions, exotic cars, and entire businesses combined. And the most shocking part is that thousands of people may have handled this coin without ever realizing the treasure sitting right in the palm of their hand. So before you spend another dime, before you empty your change jar, and before you overlook the coins hiding in your wallet, take a moment to listen carefully because the story of the rare 1988 P. Roosevelt dime is one of the most fascinating and mysterious stories in coin collecting history. And by the end of this video, you might be rushing to check every single dime you own, because the rare error varieties and minting mistakes on this coin have turned an ordinary piece of pocket change into one of the most valuable discoveries collectors dream about finding. So if you love hidden treasure stories, rare coins, and unbelievable discoveries, then make sure you stay with us until the very end, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the next life-changing coin story that could be hiding in your own home. Because what we are about to reveal might completely change the way you look at every coin you see from today onward. Now let's travel back to the year 1988, when millions of Roosevelt dimes were struck at the Philadelphia Mint marked with the famous P Mint mark. And at first glance, nothing seemed unusual about these coins, because they were produced in massive quantities for everyday circulation across the United States. People used them for vending machines, bus fares, grocery stores, and countless daily purchases. But hidden among those millions of normal coins were a few extremely rare examples that contained incredible minting errors and striking mistakes that would later shock the numismatic world. And these tiny mistakes created by the minting process are exactly what transformed a 10-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar collectible treasure. Because in coin collecting, the smallest detail can mean the difference between pocket change and unimaginable wealth. And one of the most famous and valuable errors discovered on some 1988 P dimes is the reverse design anomaly connected to the previous year's die. A mistake that occurred when the United States Mint accidentally used a reverse die intended for the 1987 dime design on some of the 1988 coins, creating what collectors call the 1988 reverse of 1987 variety. And this small but powerful difference can be seen in the details of the torch and surrounding design elements, where the positioning and shape of certain features reveal that the wrong die was used during the minting process. And when collectors first discovered this unusual difference, it immediately sent shockwaves through the coin collecting community, because die varieties like this are extremely rare and often become some of the most sought-after coins in the entire hobby. And as more collectors began studying these dimes under magnification, they realized that only a tiny number of these error coins had escaped into circulation before the mistake was corrected, meaning that somewhere out there a few lucky individuals could unknowingly possess one of the rarest modern dimes ever produced. But the reverse die mix-up was only the beginning of the mystery, because several additional minting errors have also been discovered on certain 1988 P dimes that make them even more valuable and desirable to collectors, including dramatic double die errors, where the design appears to be stamped twice due to slight movement of the die during production, creating visible doubling on the lettering, numbers, and design elements. And when a double die error is strong and clearly visible, it can instantly turn a common coin into a collector's dream, because it proves that the minting process went wrong in a very unusual and collectible way. And collectors spend years searching through thousands of coins hoping to find one of these rare double die examples, because they know that even the smallest doubling can dramatically increase a coin's value. But the surprises on the 1988 P dime do not stop there, because some rare specimens have also been discovered with off-center strikes where the coin was not perfectly aligned when it was struck by the minting press, causing part of the design to shift away from the center and leaving a blank crescent-shaped area on one side of the coin. And these off-center errors can be incredibly valuable depending on how dramatic the misalignment is and whether the date remains visible, because collectors love dramatic mint mistakes that clearly show the story of how something went wrong during production. And when a rare date like the 1988 P dime combines with a dramatic error, the value can skyrocket to unbelievable levels. But another extraordinary possibility that makes this coin so fascinating is the potential for wrong planchet errors, where the dime design was accidentally struck onto a metal blank intended for a completely different coin. And if a 1988 P dime were discovered on a planchet meant for a penny, nickel, or even a foreign coin, the rarity and value of that mistake could send collectors into a bidding frenzy, because wrong planchet errors are among the most exciting discoveries in the world of numismatics. And when collectors talk about coins that can reach astronomical values, they often refer to these kinds of unique mint mistakes that were never supposed to exist in the first place. And that is exactly why the rumored value of certain extraordinary 1988 P dime errors has been estimated to reach as high as $23 million in extreme cases where multiple rare characteristics appear together on a single coin. Because in the world of high-end coin collecting, uniqueness is everything. And when a coin becomes a one-of-a-kind treasure, collectors are willing to pay almost any price to own it. But beyond the major errors, there are also subtle variations that collectors carefully examine when studying a 1988 P dime, including die cracks, die clashes, and die chips that form when the minting equipment experiences stress or damage during production, leaving unusual raised lines or bumps on the coin's surface. And while some of these minor errors may only add modest value, others can become extremely important if they appear in dramatic forms or combine with other rare characteristics. And this is why experienced coin collectors always recommend examining coins under strong magnification and bright lighting, because the smallest detail can reveal an extraordinary discovery hiding in plain sight. And imagine for a moment the thrill of searching through a jar of old coins, spotting a tiny difference in the design of a dime, and realizing that you may have just found a coin worth millions of dollars. It sounds like something from a movie, but stories like this have happened many times throughout history, when ordinary people unknowingly possessed rare coins that later changed their lives forever. And that possibility is exactly what makes coin collecting one of the most exciting hobbies in the world, because the next great discovery could literally be sitting in someone's pocket right now waiting to be noticed. And the 1988 P Roosevelt dime stands as a perfect example of how modern coins can still hold incredible secrets, because many people assume that only ancient coins or centuries-old treasures can be valuable. But the truth is that even coins from the late 20th century can become legendary rarities if the right combination of errors and circumstances occurs during the minting process. And the United States Mint produces billions of coins every year using powerful machinery designed to operate with extreme precision. But despite all the technology and quality control measures, mistakes can still happen. And when they do, those mistakes sometimes slip into circulation before anyone realizes what occurred, creating rare coins that collectors will search for decades later. And this is why experts often say that every coin deserves a second look, because you never know when a tiny detail could reveal an extraordinary error that changes everything. And many collectors spend years examining rolls of coins from banks, checking change from stores, and searching through old family collections hoping to uncover one of these rare mint mistakes. And while the chances may be small, the rewards can be life-changing, because history has proven again and again that rare coins can sell for staggering amounts of money at auctions around the world. And when collectors compete for ownership of a truly rare piece, the bidding can climb to levels that seem almost unbelievable, especially when the coin represents a famous error or an extremely limited variety like the legendary 1988 P dime anomalies. And as more collectors become aware of these rare possibilities, the hunt for these coins becomes even more intense, because the supply is incredibly small while the demand continues to grow every year. And that combination of rarity and demand is exactly what drives prices higher and higher over time, turning small pieces of metal into historical treasures worth fortunes. And what makes this story even more exciting is the fact that many 1988 dimes are still circulating today, meaning the possibility of discovering one of these rare era varieties has not completely disappeared somewhere out there. A jar of forgotten coins, a drawer filled with spare change, or a collection inherited from a relative could contain the next incredible discovery waiting to shock the numismatic world. And for those who know what to look for, the hunt itself becomes an adventure filled with anticipation and excitement, because every coin examined could be the one that changes everything. So if you ever come across a 1988 Roosevelt dime, take a moment to inspect it carefully, look closely at the reverse design details, check the lettering and numbers for signs of doubling, examine the alignment of the strike, and pay attention to any unusual marks or shapes that could indicate a minting error, because the smallest detail might reveal a hidden treasure that most people would never notice. And who knows? The next time you receive change at a store or sort through an old coin collection, you might just find the legendary dime that collectors dream about, the tiny coin that began its life as ordinary pocket change but evolved into a multi-million-dollar mystery thanks to a series of fascinating mint mistakes. And stories like this remind us that history, luck, and curiosity often combine in the most unexpected ways, turning everyday objects into priceless artifacts that capture the imagination of collectors around the world. So keep searching, keep checking your coins, and remember that sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in the smallest places. And if you enjoyed this incredible story about the rare 1988 dime that could be worth up to $23 million because of its unbelievable errors and minting mistakes, then make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for more amazing coin discoveries that might just help you uncover the next hidden fortune waiting in your pocket change. Next, 1994 Roosevelt dime USA coin. Today's story might make you rush to check every single dime you own, because the coin we are about to talk about is something most people have seen, spent, or ignored thousands of times without ever realizing its incredible potential value. And that coin is the 1994 Roosevelt dime from the United States. A coin that normally carries a simple face value of just 10 cents, yet under extremely rare circumstances could be worth an astonishing $16 million to the right collector. And before you assume that such a discovery is impossible, you should know that rare coin stories like this have shocked the world many times before, where coins once dismissed as ordinary pocket change were later discovered to contain rare minting errors, unusual production mistakes, or hidden varieties that transformed them into multi-million-dollar collectibles. And that is exactly why collectors, historians, and treasure hunters across the world carefully examine coins from every year in mint, because history has proven again and again that the smallest mistake at the mint can create one of the most valuable coins ever discovered. So today we are diving deep into the mysterious world of the 1994 dime, exploring the fascinating minting errors, striking anomalies, die variations, and unusual production accidents that can turn this tiny coin into a legendary piece worth up to $16 million. And by the end of this story, you might start looking at every dime in your pocket a little differently, because the next incredible discovery could be sitting quietly in a jar of loose change somewhere waiting for someone curious enough to notice it. And that is exactly how some of the greatest coin discoveries in history have happened, when an ordinary person noticed something unusual on a coin that everyone else overlooked. But to understand why the 1994 dime can reach such a staggering value, we first need to travel back to the year 1994, when the United States Mint was producing millions of Roosevelt dimes at the Philadelphia Mint, marked with the famous P mint mark just above the date on the obverse side of the coin. And like most coins produced in large quantities, these dimes were intended for everyday circulation, meaning they were made to be used for vending machines, bus fares, grocery store purchases, parking meters, and countless daily transactions across the country. And because the mint produced such an enormous number of these coins, most people assume they are extremely common and therefore completely worthless beyond their 10-cent face value. But what most people do not realize is that even in years with massive coin production, there can still be extremely rare error coins hiding among the millions of normal examples. And these errors occur when something goes wrong during the minting process, whether it involves the dies used to stamp the coin, the metal planchets that become the coin blanks, the alignment of the striking machinery, or even small imperfections in the equipment itself. And when those mistakes happen, they sometimes create coins that are unlike anything else produced that year, making them incredibly desirable to collectors who spend years searching for these unusual varieties. And one of the most fascinating possibilities associated with the 1994 P dime involves double die errors, which occur when the die used to stamp the design onto the coin is created with slight misalignment during the hubbing process, resulting in a design that appears doubled in certain areas, and this doubling can often be seen in the lettering, the date, the mint mark, or the design features of the coins such as Roosevelt's profile or the torch on the reverse side. And while minor doubling may only add modest value to a coin, strong and dramatic double die errors can become extremely valuable because they are easy for collectors to identify, and they represent a permanent mistake that affected every coin struck by that particular die. And if a dramatic double die variety were discovered among the 1994 P dimes, it could instantly become one of the most valuable modern era coins ever found, especially if only a few examples managed to escape into circulation before the mint detected the mistake and replaced the faulty die. But double dies are only one of the many fascinating error possibilities that could turn this dime into a $16 million rarity, because another dramatic minting mistake involves off-center strikes, which occur when the coin blank is not perfectly aligned within the striking chamber of the minting press, causing the design to be stamped off to one side and leaving a blank curved area on the coin where the design never reached. And depending on how far off-center the strike occurs, these coins can become incredibly valuable, especially if the date and mint mark remain visible while a large portion of the design is shifted away from the center, because collectors love coins that visually demonstrate the moment something went wrong during production. And when such a dramatic mistake appears on a relatively modern coin like the 1994 P dime, it becomes even more intriguing because modern minting equipment is designed to minimize these kinds of errors, making the few that slip through extremely collectible. But the story becomes even more fascinating when we consider the possibility of wrong planchet errors, which occur when a coin design is struck onto a metal blank that was intended for an entirely different coin. And imagine a 1994 P dime design accidentally struck onto a copper penny planchet, a thicker nickel planchet, or even a foreign coin blank that somehow entered the minting process. Such mistakes have happened before in United States mint history, and when they do, the results can become some of the most valuable coins ever produced because they represent an accident that was never supposed to occur. And collectors around the world compete fiercely to own these unique pieces because they demonstrate the unpredictable side of coin production, where machinery, metal blanks, and human oversight occasionally combine to create something completely unexpected. And if a 1994 P dime were discovered struck on the wrong metal planchet, while also displaying additional minting anomalies, the rarity of such a coin could push its value into the multi-million-dollar range, especially if the coin were certified by major grading services and recognized as a one-of-a-kind example. But beyond these dramatic errors, there are also many subtle die variations that collectors carefully study when examining modern coins, including die cracks, die chips, and die clashes that form when the minting dies experience stress or damage during production. And while some of these minor features may only add small amounts of value, they can sometimes appear in dramatic forms that make a coin stand out among thousands of normal examples. And experienced collectors know that even the tiniest raised line or unusual mark on a coin could reveal a fascinating story about what happened during the moment that coin was struck at the mint. And that curiosity is exactly what drives the passion of numismatics, because every coin carries a piece of history. And sometimes that history includes a mistake that transforms an ordinary object into an extraordinary collectible. And when we talk about a potential value of $16 million for a rare 1994 dime, we are talking about a scenario where multiple rare characteristics come together on a single coin, such as an unusual planchet error combined with dramatic doubling, off-center striking, or other extraordinary features that make the coin unique among billions produced that year. And in the world of elite coin collecting, uniqueness is everything, because collectors with the resources to spend millions of dollars are searching for coins that no one else owns. Coins that tell a remarkable story about the minting process and represent a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And that is why the hunt for rare error coins never truly ends, because even modern coins from the 1990s can still surprise the collecting community with new varieties that were overlooked for decades, and many collectors spend years searching through bank rolls of coins, carefully examining each piece under magnification in hopes of spotting something unusual that others missed. And while the odds may seem small, history has shown that extraordinary discoveries often come from the most unexpected places. From old jars of change sitting in kitchen cabinets to inherited coin collections passed down through generations. And every once in a while someone discovers a coin that changes everything. A coin that was once spent in a vending machine or dropped into a cash register, but later becomes the center of attention at a major auction where collectors compete to own a piece of minting history. And that possibility is exactly what makes stories like the 1994 dime so exciting, because the next incredible discovery might still be out there waiting to be found. Perhaps hidden in a forgotten drawer, a piggy bank, or a handful of change received during an everyday purchase. And the idea that something so small and ordinary could hold such enormous value captures the imagination of people around the world, reminding us that treasure does not always come in the form of gold bars or buried chests, but sometimes appears as a tiny silver-colored coin quietly circulating through countless hands without anyone realizing its true significance. And that is why collectors always encourage people to check their coins carefully, because the difference between a 10-cent coin and a multi-million-dollar rarity could be a tiny detail that only reveals itself under close inspection, whether it is a doubled letter, an unusual strike, a misaligned design, or an unexpected metal composition that proves the coin was created during a rare moment when something went wrong at the mint. And those rare moments are exactly what turn ordinary coins into legendary collectibles that capture the attention of the entire numismatic world. So the next time you receive a dime in your change, take a moment to look at it closely, check the date, find the mint mark, and examine the design for anything unusual, because the story of the 1994 Roosevelt dime reminds us that incredible discoveries can still happen even with modern coins. And while most of these dimes will remain worth only their face value, there is always the exciting possibility that somewhere out there a rare example exists with extraordinary errors and minting mistakes that could make it one of the most valuable coins ever found. A tiny piece of metal capable of turning a moment of curiosity into a life-changing discovery. And if you enjoy uncovering hidden treasure stories like this and learning about coins that could be worth millions, then make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and keep watching, because the next coin we explore might be the one hiding in your pocket right now, waiting to change your life forever.